This is Chit Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. Interviewing musicians, comedians, sports personalities, and many, many other individuals all over the world, sharing their story of encouragement, inspiration, what they've been through, what they've gone through, as well as amazing musicians from all over the world. Kick back and relax. For some amazing people you probably have never heard of and their story. Each of us have a story of hope, of courageousness, of inspiration. This is Chit Chat, the encouraging one-on-one podcast. It's always about encouraging others. Hello there, and welcome back to Chit Chat, the encouraging one-on-one podcast. I'm your host, Jody Sheffield. Thank you for joining us for another fun, exciting, encouraging interview today. We have some awesome music, as well as a really fun interview. The music we have today is a variety of genres. I kid you not. We have Sassy Vazay. Her song, If Your Dog Don't Like Him. Great, great song. Andrew Dean's song is Wanted, A Good Time for All. And local musician here in Kitsap County, Daryl Dominic, and Monster Target Sharon, Money Mayweather. At the end, I'll give you their websites. You can check out each musician and see where they're at, maybe they're in concert in your neck of the woods, or you want to see some of their merchandise. We'll have that at the very end of the podcast, so stay tuned. As I begin to introduce my guest today, I was thinking today, I wonder what goes on behind the scenes when you call 911. And my dad was a volunteer firefighter for 20 years. He would go on calls, and I often just kind of think about what goes on behind the scenes when you call 911. So today, I'm reaching out to a local dispatcher at Kitsap 911, and they're that person there who answers the call when you're in a dire emergency. When your heart's racing 90 miles a minute, they're trying to keep you calm, and when you hear that call 911, what's your emergency? That calming voice is there to help you get through those hard times, the critical times you're trying to find emergency services for you or even a total stranger. Today, I had the opportunity to interview her and kind of hear more about her, how she got involved in this line of work. I'm so excited to hear what inspired her. And we're at CENCOM, and she is the CENCOM is responsible for answering all 911 calls, fire, police, emergency, and animal control services. And they're 24 hours, 7 days a week, and they're highly trained, devoted team of 70 professionals. So kick back and relax. This is Chit Chat, the encouraging one-on-one podcast. This is Sassy Vazay. If your dog don't like him.
Yeah.
We're here with Brandy See, I did it already. D'Ininosanto? There you go. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. I'm all excited about, my dad was a firefighter, volunteered for 20 years in Arkansas.
Oh, nice.
So much respect for police officers, 911 operators, and so I'm excited to be here and talk with you, get behind the scenes a little bit. Before we dive into some fun conversations, I like to ask some icebreaker questions, kind of get the ball rolling a little bit. What is something popular now, you look back at 5 years and find yourself that was kind of stupid or embarrassing, maybe in your younger years?
I had a hard time with this one because I just don't know. I'm not fashionable. I'm not trendy. So, I don't have anything. Yeah. I think maybe it's the belt bags. Oh. Have you seen what they're doing now? So the belt bags where, it's the fanny packs, but because we're trying to be cool, you wear them like crossbody.
Like a satchel.
Yes. that might be the thing.
I have seen those. I'm like, why?
It's because we don't want them to be fanny packs, but they are.
Question 2, you have a personal chef or a live-in maid or a chauffeur. Which one are you going to choose? I know you have 2 little ones too.
Well, I have 4.
4, okay.
4 in the house. So definitely the live-in maid because there's constant chaos. You can't keep up with it.
Yeah, I have 4. My youngest is 20, but now I have 2 grandkids. Oh, sorry, another one on the way, so 3.
Oh, congratulations.
And we have, this weekend I watched my daughter's dogs. We had 4 dogs this weekend, so that was fun. If they could make a movie about your life, what title would you want it to be? Would it be a comedy, drama, musical?
I would have to say it would probably be some epic musical, only because I love music. But I think, can they have a musical comedy? And it would probably be titled something along the lines of Chaos.
It's your movie. I mean,
yeah. It would be. It'd have to be, chaos somewhere in the title, and people would have to bust into song at the most inappropriate times.
My grandkids watched a lot of it. Was Greatest Showman. Oh my gosh!
Yes,
all the time.
That was an amazing movie.
Jeez.
It would be just like that, except
I was big on Moulin Rouge. I like that one. I thought that was kind of cool.
I did like a lot of Laz Berman's movies. Yeah. The whole Red Curtain series. That was pretty awesome.
If you could attend 3 concerts that we're choosing anywhere in the world, which 3 groups are you going to see and where are you going? You got the kids covered, so you have the cable with you or anything.
Okay, good, because that would make sense. So I've really been enjoying, and now I've completely blanked on all of their names, because that's just what you do. I've seen Metallica a couple of times, so I would always go and see Metallica again. Like, they're just great showmen, and anywhere in the world I would fly to do that. Then probably George Strait. So here's the difference in my musical abilities. Yep. George Strait, just such a classic musician and just great music. And then I can see their faces in my mind, and I can't think of the name. But there's another one.
Heavy metal, country?
No, it's a Christian artist, a duo, brothers.
For King Country.
Yes, thank you. I'm like, I was just listening to them on the way in, and I'm like, the Smallwoods, like, what is the name of their band? And I couldn't remember it, but yes, for King and Country. And I was recently able to take my daughter. Okay. It was her first concert. Was able to go see them in my hometown in Texas.
Nice.
And it was a great concert.
We saw them a few years ago before COVID. And my daughter and my niece, 2 daughters and my niece and my wife and I went. And my daughter got my youngest, who's a big fan of the group, got the high five one of them. Nice. She's bawling. And of course, Dad's eyes are watering for her. I wasn't crying. I was just like, ah!
It was a moment.
It was pretty exciting. It was a good concert. And I was in Texas actually a few weeks ago. It was 106 degrees. Whew. My wife was like, no, it's not going to work for us at all.
They do have air conditioning in most places.
Yeah, we didn't walk outside much at all. Kids like, how was it like, Dad? Turn the oven on, put your head in the oven. That's what it felt like. Anyway, what product would you stockpile if you found out it was not going to be sold anymore? Are you a coffee drinker or a tea or snacks?
Yes, but it would probably be my... This is going to sound a little vain. My leave-in conditioner for my hair, because I have curly hair, and with how our weather up here in Washington, I need it to be tamed So if they were going to run out of that product, I would probably stock my entire garage.
My wife's the same way. She has a particular shampoos and conditioners that they have to get. And I'm like, I want whatever's cheap. He goes, no, you want what's good for your hair. I'm like, I have no hair. It's short. And so throughout our interview today, I'll be asking you a little bit about yourself and kind of more about what you do. And who or what inspired you to pursue this career in emergency dispatch? Or what's your title, actually?
So my official title, I am one of the public safety communications supervisors for Kitsap 911. And I've worked here for 20 years as of this April. As everybody does when they come in to work here at Kitsap 911, I started out as a primary call receiver, moved on to dispatch, and then fire dispatch, and then slowly moved into the more supervisory roles. And I think I wasn't exactly sure what I was getting into. Just to be completely honest, 20 years ago, I had just moved up from Texas, so I was brand new to Washington. I'd been here about the weekend that I moved here. One of my friends had saved me the want ads from that paper. So that's how long ago it was, because we still used want ads to find your jobs. And I had been working in the customer service industry. I had been a bartender, waitress. I worked in a hospital, filing. So no medical experience there, but very different jobs. And then this kind of came across as something different. And I was like, oh, that's kind of exciting. My grandfather was a highway patrolman in Texas. So I kind of thought, oh, I have a little bit of understanding of what this could be like. I had no idea what I was getting into. I was very excited to get the job and kind of move in, and it gave me that opportunity to move out of the service industry. And it's been a challenge every day since, and I've absolutely loved that this is what my life has done and been able to grow with this career.
A little bit about yourself, a little quick bio about yourself. From you have kids and kind of just what really was this someone who inspired you or kind of encouraged you to do that, or just something I want to try something different? And 911's a good calling for me.
It really was. I wanted to try something different, and I was in a new state, and at the time I didn't have kids. I didn't have a significant other. I was just moved up here with my best friend, and we were like, yeah, let's do something cool, and, tried something new and found something I really loved.
Not often I get the privilege of coming here. We're in CENCOM, which is Central Command.
It's Central Communications.
I knew I was going to get that wrong. Being in this line of work for 20 years, share some positions. You shared some of the positions you've done. How long were kind of each stepping stone for you as you moved up the ladder?
For my personal journey, I was a call receiver for about 2 months, because back when I was hired, you were hired into a specific role. So you were either hired to be a dispatcher or you were hired to be a call taker. When you came in, though, everybody was trained as a call taker first, because even as a dispatcher, you're still having to pick up 911 lines. So very quickly, I moved from call taking to dispatching. And then I was a dispatcher for about 3 years before I moved into my first supervisory role, which was an acting lead, which is basically if there is no supervisor on the floor, then you're kind of covering the shift. At 5 years, I became an assistant supervisor, and then a couple of years later, I moved into a supervisory role.
So what do you guys take 911 calls, obviously, from all of Kitsap County, that fire, police, medical, animal too?
Yes. So one of the things I love to brag about for CENCOM, and I will say I've only worked at Kitsap 911, so, take that with a grain of salt. But we were the first 911 dispatch center in Washington State to be consolidated. So that meant that we took 911 calls and then we dispatched for all three of the disciplines, what we say, so police, fire, and medical. And then just in the past 5 or more years, I actually don't remember the timeline, we also started dispatching more for animal control. So in Kitsap County, we're still a small enough agency that will work this way, but for animal complaints, like if you lost your dog or, if you see an injured animal, you'll call 911 for that. And then we dispatch animal control.
Can you share some of your early experiences in receiving 911 calls? Was it you deliver a baby earlier, or there was a call you remember the most in your early years?
Probably just the randomness of the calls. And that is not quite what I expected, because you'll get calls for things that are not true emergencies, but people are, they're in a crisis, they're in a panic, and, this is the number that they reach out to, which is perfectly fine. And we'll handle those requests and dispatch the appropriate resources. But I don't have one that really sticks out earliest as a call taker in my mind. Now, we were talking a little bit before about the Arnold's fire, and so people remember that from a number of years ago. I was a dispatcher at that point and was off duty, and they had sent out a text asking for additional staffing because it happened in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And so I do remember driving in, because I happened to be awake, I'm a nighttime person, got the text, and I'm like, oh, I can go in and help with that, and then driving by and seeing the flames from the highway, and then coming into work and ended up working as the dispatcher for part of that structure fire. So that kind of cemented my early years, as being that it's like the connection with the emergency response network, basically being part of the team that helps. Right. Even though I'm not a firefighter, I'm not a medic, I'm not a police officer, and I don't think I have the personality for those roles, I still have a part, and I'm still helping with that. And so that kind of kept me going through the years. This is a great profession.
Dispatchers often have a high deal of stress in situations when someone calls. I know I called a few times, and I tried to take a deep breath. Most of the time I call, it's not emergency. It's not emergency. It's something weird, like I had a pass-by building, their fire alarm was going off. But how do you calm down someone who, when it calls you, are like in a panic, because obviously it's emergency, and it could be a dire situation. How do you help someone calm down in a situation like that?
We try to teach all of our call takers a few different skills, and based around that communication level. So one of them is really active listening. So making sure that we are hearing what the caller is saying, trying as much as possible not to have them repeat information, especially if they're panicked. If we can catch it, right at the beginning when they're saying it, we're not having to have them repeat and ask so many questions. But making sure we're being very clear. There's a lot of skills that you can look up on the internet, verbal attending, or I guess nonverbal attending doesn't really work, like posture, that doesn't really go over the phone line. Right. But, using those little words like, okay, explaining what we're doing if there's a long pause, okay, hold on while I document this information. Sometimes you do have to use a stern tone of voice. A lot of people kind of joke and call it the mom voice, or, your parental voice, to get in there and say, okay, I need you to take a breath. Take a deep breath for me, and then reassure people. And sometimes that goes a long way, just to let them know, I have a call entered, the fire department is being dispatched, or law enforcement is being dispatched. So my questions aren't delaying any response.
Each time someone gives you information, you're kind of putting it in the log to get a call rolling, correct? Okay. What are some most challenging aspects of this job? In 20 years you've been through, I'm sure you have highs and lows, and just a few things that you got. What's the most challenging for you can remember or share about?
A lot of it is the stress that comes with the job. It is a very stressful job, and in part because you are working with people, like, they don't call 911 because they're happy. You call 911 most of the time, it could be the worst day that you're going through. And you just talked about, those excited callers, those people that are in a panic, and it's a stressful thing. It gets your adrenaline going when you pick up the phone and somebody is screaming and yelling in the background, and you're having to work with them and flex your approach and try all these tips and techniques to get them calm so you can get the information that you need. And then that we're working on a timeline. So it's like, okay, I need to get this person assistance. I need to get a call entered into the system. So that means I need to get the information. And just working with that stress can be very detrimental to health, mental health, physical health. And that has been something that, just as a profession, we have been working on. most recently, just in the past 5 to 10 years, recognizing the stress that comes with the job and providing the tools and resources for people so that they can help manage that and keep this career long term.
How do you establish a personal relationship with someone who you're assisting them as helps arrives? You've seen 911, the TV show, obviously, and I'm sure it's not even close to what you guys do. But to try to keep them calm and relaxed in that situation is like just breathe, first of all. It's really important, and you want to get the statistics out, the address, location, as responders get there in a timely manner. So is that kind of beneficial? You just kind of just do your best to keep them calm, I guess.
You really do try, and that is kind of the goal is, okay, I need to get, you're right, the location is the most important information. If all I have is a location, I don't even know what's going on, I have a solution for that. I can put in a call with an event type that this is an unknown problem. We have no idea what's going on, but somebody needs help here. So that's, primarily what it is.
You're a multitasker when you're doing this because are you with like police and fire and paramedics? Is that all kind of you go back and forth? Is that just one call to everybody to respond to an incident?
Well, there's typically multiple calls going on at a time, but dispatch is split up into police and fire, and then we have 3 different police dispatch consoles. So you have the city of Bremerton. It's a well-populated area, so they have their own frequency. And then you have the south frequency, which is the southern part of Kitsap County Sheriff's Office, and then Port Orchard PD. And then you have the north frequency, which is the northern part of Kitsap County Sheriff's Office, Paulsbo, Bainbridge Island, Suquamish, and Port Gamble. And then the fire channel covers all of the fire agencies. Okay. So you have all of these people working at one time. Then that's that's our minimum staffing for those radios. So any call comes in, it goes directly to that dispatcher. So one dispatcher is not handling the entire county. Right. We do split it up a little bit. But you do have scenarios or situations where your call taker is the dispatcher. And then that adds that extra level of multitasking because not only are you talking to the person on the phone, trying to get them calm so you can get the information that you need, but you're also dispatching it at the same time.
When you get multiple calls for the same accident or incident, and Joe Schmo and Johnny down the street, and you have multiple guys on the phone with the same. I got the same accident here. How's that? You guys work together to coordinate, passerbys and just kind of investigating a little more about the details.
Yes. So we use a very sophisticated, what is called computer-aided dispatch or CAD system that everybody is logged into. So one call taker is going to enter a call. It is available it goes directly to the dispatcher that is working for that agency, but everybody is available to look at it. So it's available for anyone. So this person is taking a 911 call. I'm taking a 911 call, and that's the same collision. One of us is going to get that call entered first, and then the other one will just add their information to it. Okay. So we're not getting multiple details. You have one with all the information in it. And, that is something that has just changed with our profession. 20 years ago, you would get a handful of calls about a collision, right, in a really populated area. So the Warren Avenue Bridge, we would get a lot of calls, especially during the day. But now with cell phones, the majority of the nation is a cell phone only home. Yeah. And so our call numbers have just increased because now instead of a handful of calls about a collision, you'll get 20 to 30 calls about a collision.
We mentioned earlier how long the shifts are. You said about 10 hours.
They're typically, we work 4 10-hour shifts. Okay. And then we have a rotating 3 days off and 4 days off. So it kind of allows you to rotate through the week.
I follow your Facebook group, Kitsap 911.
Yes. In
May, they had 19,000 calls. In June, I got the answer right. It was 17,660, I believe. And 4th of July, there was 1,213 calls. That's insane. How do you guys do it? You breathe between calls at all?
You really do, because they go in spurts. And I work graveyard, so there's a lot longer time between spurts. What we like to say is that if you're working day shift, you are going to handle more calls, but they're going to be lower priority. So higher call volume, lower priority. And then when you work swing shift or graveyard, lower call volume, but typically higher priority calls.
In the many years you've done this, and you kind of just touch base on it a little bit. How do you deal a lot of stress? How do you when you begin to feel overstressed, and you need to take preventive measures to kind of breathe a little bit or step back a little bit? What are the processes for someone who's kind of getting overwhelmed with the amount of phone calls or the amount of type of calls they may get?
So we start at the beginning. So when you come in when you're hired at Kitsap 911 and you're training as a call taker, we teach you some stress management skills. One of those is, you kind of develop your stress management plan. So we talk about, hey, you might get stressed on the floor. You're either going to take a really stressful call, or like you had mentioned, you're just going to get overwhelmed with just, it's been so busy, and they've all been, really priority calls. So what are you going to do in those instances? Plan it out ahead of time before you even get on the floor. And so we try to teach those techniques in the beginning. Once you're here, we have a couple of different things that we can offer. One, we have what we call the quiet room that has one of those nice big massage chairs. You've seen them in the mall.
Ooh, nice.
So we have, a nice massage chair with like positive quotes and pretty pictures on the wall.
Encouragement, right?
Yes. Somebody at one time had brought in this big, huge stuffed teddy bear. So, if you need to go hug it out a little bit, you can.
Okay.
We have a gated facility, so people are able to just go out and walk outside if they need that break. The biggest thing that we've done for that, though, is all of the resources that we now have available. So an employee assistance program, so that you can reach out if you're struggling with something. If you're starting to stress and it's starting to impact your life, you can reach out and talk to somebody. We have agreements with our agencies who do a lot of work with critical incident stress debriefing, where they will come in. So they'll have volunteers that are trained, to talk through first responders and this type of stress. So they'll come in at any time. If we need somebody, we can set up a meeting like that and have that available for our employees. We have a peer supports team now that's been working for the past couple of years, to where some of our employees are trained and have this type of support that they can provide to their coworkers if they need it.
Okay. Is it easier for you now to leave work at work and not think about the 10-hour shift you did, or you go home and see the kids and put a smile on your face? Is that a little easier for you now over the past 20 years?
Yes, partly because I think, remember we talked about the movie of my life. It's so chaotic at home that I don't know that I have room for that. But that is part of what we teach employees, like right at the beginning, is have that stress management plan. So know what works for you when you go home, so that you can de-stress and leave work at work. Yeah. For some people, it's one of my coworkers I know, she's like, okay, I come home, and the first 15 minutes that I'm home, I'm going to change out of my, whatever she's wearing that day, put on home clothes. Her family knows to kind of give her that 15 to 20 minutes so that she can just, take off work, and then she's ready to be at home.
So quite a few military people and just a few police officer friends of mine just kind of go home and just kind of control, delete, kind of breathe for a few minutes and just kind of walk. Yeah. It really helps them kind of put the day aside until tomorrow. Over the past 20 years, I bet you've seen a lot of changes with cell phones that you mentioned, GPS locators. Has that helped now? Or is it just more overwhelming with all the cell phones and all the extra necessities, but ways to communicate to 911?
We have had some amazing advances that have there's huge benefits for them just in being able to reach assistance. They come with their own challenges, though. It is, like we mentioned with cell phones, it's made our workload just busier. It has. But a couple of big ones, text to 911 is a really big benefit. So it primarily was sought because that's how your deaf and hard of hearing community communicates, through text. And they need to have equal and the same access to 911 as everybody else does. Now, we've got that here at Kitsap 911. We are just a few weeks away, I believe, from being statewide with text to 911 for Washington State.
Text 911. Okay.
So 911 in the 2 field, send your text message, and most agencies are able to respond. It also has a huge benefit for anybody that is in a situation where they can't speak freely. So I know a good one that most people probably talk about education-wise is somebody's breaking into your house, and you're, hiding in the closet or the bedroom, and, you're able to text so that you're not having to speak. Or if you're in a domestic violence or a suicidal situation and you don't want the other person to know that you're calling. So, this amazing technology that was for this specific need, but also has benefits in other areas. Cell phone location has, had amazing advancements just over the past 10 years where, before you would get a little bit of location information, like I might know you're calling from, Kitsap County, but now pretty regularly it's fairly spot on. I don't know that we'll ever be Google Maps. Google Maps is pretty amazing, I think, when you're looking at the Google pin or like Domino's,
right.
They all have different funding.
Yes.
And that's what I think when people ask, well, why doesn't 911 have this? It's a lot about funding and the different equipment that is available to any individual agency. But it really has gotten so much better with the advance in technology to where often we can get a cell phone call with an unknown problem where there is an emergency going on, and we can get them to really close in the area, if not pinpointing to an actual house where the situation is.
My wife uses that event CBEC, way off the grid in CBEC. How does that? Does 911 text or call, you're middle of nowhere, does that still go through, or that still? How does that work sometimes?
It works
without location, I guess.
Yeah, the texting itself or the location of the cell phones?
Yeah, both. When you lose service or you're out in the middle of nowhere.
So unfortunately, with the location services, it depends on the quality of your phone service. So, CBEC, that's a pretty known spotty area for cell service. So if you're out in CBEC, we may not get the best location information. Just, depending on what it is. Kitsap County, I love Kitsap County. It's beautiful. We have the most shoreline of any county in Washington State. We have, mountainous, Green Mountain, mountainish areas.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're, surrounded by mountains, Cascades and the Olympics. It's beautiful, but it does cause some havoc with cell phones. So one of the challenges for our agency is the misrouted cell phones. So if you're calling from CBEC or the waterfront down in Port Orchard, especially the waterfront in the Kingston area, those cell phones, you might get that misrouted to where you're going to get Seattle, or we often get calls from the shoreline areas of Seattle, and we have to transfer them over. But again, it all kind of depends on your cell phone and the provider that you're using.
We're doing a road trip, my family and I, and Port Townsend somewhere, and my phone picked up some Canada. I'm like, hope I don't call 911 because Canada will be getting my phone call. What motivates you each time you come to work?
It's the ability to be able to help somebody. Because like I mentioned, I don't think I have the type of personality or the fortitude it takes to be a police officer or, a medic or a firefighter. But I like being able to feel like I helped somebody in some way. Even if that is just, let me take your information and I'll have an officer contact you. I've been able to be part of that system and provide services to, the people that we in Kitsap County.
In 20 years, have you delivered any babies over the phone?
I have not.
Oh.
No. And I just had one of my new call takers. I was talking with her, and within the first 3 weeks after she was signed off as a call taker and working on her own, she got a baby delivery. And it's been 20 years. 20 years.
So has a baby, call Brandy when she's working.
Right?
If someone's out there looking to get in this particular line of work, dispatch operator, that's what they're called, I'm guessing, dispatch operators? Or
Dispatcher, telecommunicator.
Okay. That sounds good, telecommunicator.
I know. It sounds much more exciting.
What are some important skills or qualities it takes to be a good telecommunicator?
Communication skills are going to be very highly necessary. Multitasking is also one to have. what I will tell people, especially if we're talking with, high school graduates or, somebody who's interested in this, is honestly working in the service industry is a great way to get some of those skills. Retail, banking, someplace where you're having to work with and deal with people. It's in person versus on the phone, but you're still learning those skills about listening and, de-escalation. So you have, you're waiting on a table and there's a complaint. How are you dealing with that? Are you able to kind of de-escalate that situation, or is it erupting in your face? You also learn a lot of multitasking skills. So anybody in the service industry, you're kind of aware of the term in the weeds. So you're, hugely busy and you're just like, oh my goodness. The all hands in, all hands out doesn't really cross over, but, learning those multitasking skills while you're in that type of environment is so beneficial for here, because you're going to be able to do that as well.
You have job fairs, or can people go online to want to look for a job?
I would say, look at our Facebook. So we've been trying to push our social media and get a bigger presence out there. So anytime that we have a hiring, anytime we're going to be out at events, we try to put that out on our Facebook. Our website, I believe we use, I don't remember the program that we use, but you can go to our website, look at any job openings, and I believe you can put in a request to be notified if a job opening is posted. And then we will often do several career fairs throughout the year. And any of the big ones, the military career fairs, I think that they do pretty regularly, at least once or twice a year. We try to be out at those as well.
So looking back from your day you started till now, it's a great career change for you?
It's been amazing, and sometimes it feels like it hasn't been 20 years. Like I think about it and I'm just like, how have I been in one position for this, with one place for this amount of time? Right. I didn't really work for anyone for more than 2 or 3 years when I was younger. And so now it's like, wait, it's been 20 years at the same place. This is very strange. How's
the turnover rate here with people coming in and coming out or getting new jobs? Is it pretty constant or slow down a little bit? Does it vary?
It really varies. And some of that is, this is an amazing job and it's an amazing profession, but it's not for everyone. And sometimes you don't know that until you get in. So you can go through, we hire people in, you go through a 4 to 6 week kind of academy where it's classroom learning, a little bit of hands-on training, but mostly classroom. And then you come out and you start training on the floor with your trainer. So you have somebody plugged in with you, so you're not on your own, for about 3 months. And sometimes you just don't know until you get to that on the floor training and you're like, oh, this is not for me. Okay. Or, okay, I don't quite have the skills that it takes, even though you've been able to incorporate the knowledge portions. The application piece is sometimes not right. And then some people really just identify, I don't like this. I don't like the stress. Right. We had, I know I've had trainees that have come in and, they're really excelling. They're doing a great job. But the stress of not knowing what's going to be on the line when they pick it up was too much. Oh. And so they said, no, thank you, but no.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for the time. It's the great tour of CENCOM, and hope you retire. The retirement plan, I'm guessing. Was there a goal you're shooting to retire at, or?
I'm just going to keep it flexible. My kids are pretty young, so we haven't even reached that stage yet. It kind of feels good to have reached a 20-year milestone. I'm like, yes, that's awesome, but I see myself here for a little while longer.
Well, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it. And thank you for all you do and the many men and women who are behind that call. I think of Siri a lot. You guys are like Siri. You're there to help someone who get lost or lost their dog or having one of the worst day of their lives. And you guys are there to help them calm down and get the help they need. So thank you so much for the time and just to be here today. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
This is Andrew Dean. Wanted a good time for all.
trouble on the run. Laughing and a drinking, come and get you some. Wanted a good time for all. Whether skiing or boating, commence to floating, the river or the lake or some ocean motion. Wanted a good time for all. As the hours drift away, we're having a ball, having fun here today. And not a care gets in our way. Wanted a good time for all. Fun in the sun, we're putting trouble on the run. Laughing and a drinking, come and get you some. Wanted a good time for all. Whether skiing or boating, commence to float, the river or the lake or some ocean motion. Wanted a good time for all. As the hours drift away, we're having a ball, having fun here today. Not a care gets in our way. Wanted a good time for all. Yeah, wanted a good time for all. All right, now wanted a good time for all.
Breaking news. We have a commercial break. Next. Are you craving donuts? I got a place for you to check out the most delicious donuts around. Come on down and check out my friends at Lone Star Donuts. They're a locally owned and operated business here in Kitsap County, and now they open their third location. They already had locations in Silverdale, Washington, Port Orchard, Washington, and now in Poulsbo, Washington, with over 50 kinds of donuts. I kid you not, 50 kinds of donuts. Many are filled, many are maple with bacon, real bacon, not that fake bacon. And now they have clutches. I had no idea what these were, but they're like a yeasty pastry with kielbasa on it, and they're so good. Check them out on Facebook, Lone Star Donuts. Their 3 locations are in Silverdale at 1087 Maury Place. The number is 360-204-5021. In Port Orchard at 2649 Mile Hill Drive. The number there is 360-443-2600. And now in Poulsbo at 21505 Marketplace, Suite 102. We all know you cannot buy happiness, but you can buy donuts. That's basically the same thing, right? Stop by and check out my friends at Lone Star Donuts. You can find them on Facebook as well. Lone Star Donuts, the best tasting donuts around.
When I say barbecue, does your mouth just start to water? Barbecue. Well, I got the place for you to go check out, right? Double D's, Barbecue and Smokery. They got the best tasting ribs, dry rub ribs, and the meat just literally fell off the bone the last plate I had. Delicious. Also, they have pulled brisket, pulled pork, sides like bacon, macaroni, and cheese, coleslaw, beans, and cream corn with green chilies. Little kick. Delicious. And the dessert, banana pudding. That's right, banana pudding. Where can you find that at, right? See, Brett and Dawn, the owners of Double D's, are both strong military veterans. They have found a home here in the Pacific Northwest, and their roots range from Texas to North Carolina and everywhere in between. They bring their amazing flavors to their ribs and their food truck, which is a catering business as well. You can reach them at 360-960-9093. They're on Facebook, Instagram. That's right, Double D's, Barbecue and Smokery, delicious tasting ribs and barbecue. You got it. Check them out.
This next song is by Daryl Dominic and Monster Tarver. And this song speaks to the fight that believers have to put up every day while living in the world. Though we have to fight, we have victory in Christ regardless. Our victory in Christ makes us defeated because he was undefeated, very similar to Floyd Mayweather's perfect boxing record. This is Money Mayweather, music video by Daryl Dominic.
Cause we undefeated, cause we undefeated. Yeah. I didn't have to fight my whole life. Yeah, they saw my potential, said my future so bright. Had to find my way in darkness, no light. Was blinded by the snakes, cause we ain't know Christ. Yeah, my city is gully, the dirt, you feel me, it's muddy. When face pretend to be buddies, then cross you really be nutty. Food stamps to fill up my tummy, rough fades of kids was to touch me. We was shoving and punching, I stopped until we was bloody. Yeah, they swinging really hard, trying to bash on my hopes. They tried to put me down with my back on the ropes. These people got for the smoke. Things used to ask for the coke. Now I'm back with the hope because my passion no joke. Yeah, get some more my money Mayweather. Cause we undefeated. I guess some more my money Mayweather. Cause we undefeated. Get some more my money Mayweather. Cause we undefeated. I guess I'm on my money Mayweather. Cause we undefeated. I step on the scene, demand the respect. I flex with my team, you cannot reject. I'm blessed with a dream, I cannot accept. Won't choke under pressure, can't strangle my neck. And some people sowing their feelings, and some won't even admit it. I know it is written, I'm sold on my mission. They won't even mention I'm going the distance. Keep fakes out my bubble, they waiting for trouble. They hating so subtle, I came from the rubble. Move waiting the duffel, notating my hustle. I'm making it double the face, I can't trust them. Remember, I slept on the sofa. The Lord said I need to come closer. A sink full of dishes and feasting with roaches. Was drinking the Folgers and eat with my soldiers. Some fish with the coca and reaching my quota. The streets on my shoulders was seeking the loader. Can't forget the fact I was living so raw. They want you to settle for less. Get involved with hell of a mess. They don't want you to tell that you're blessed. They don't want you to level up next. Get some more my money Mayweather. Cause we undefeated. I guess some more my money Mayweather. Cause we undefeated. Get some more my money Mayweather. Cause we undefeated. I guess I'm on my money Mayweather. Double barrel. Undefeated. Inside of this mind to get by when it's time, and in private it's driving, it's fire to fight for this life to get high. You've been fight for the cause within right and then wrong, and then life isn't long enough. Why is it harder to give from Christ than the Father? Who's ready for the war? And I never could ignore anybody who is seeking heaven from the Lord, and I'm ready to explore anybody who is taking credit from the Lord. Put the devil on the floor, basically you'll turn into a rebel with a sword, and you're edible and more. You will not survive, and I've been telling it really not to try. Give it a minute when they compromise. In the beginning and when they cop the lies, then they pretended because a lot are blind. Go. And I've been down for the count, I've been homeless before I was almost deleted. And if I made this weather ain't changing nothing cause I'm undefeated. Get some more my money money, Mayweather, Mayweather. Cause we undefeated, cause we undefeated. I guess I'm on my money, Mayweather, Mayweather. Cause we undefeated, cause we undefeated. Guess I'm on my money, Mayweather, Mayweather. Cause we undefeated, cause we undefeated. I guess I'm on my money, Mayweather, Mayweather. Cause we undefeated, cause we undefeated, yeah.
Are you craving some authentic, fresh Mexican food? I am. I want to tell you about two businesses here in Silverdale, Washington. They're both locally owned and operated. They got some of the best tasting Mexican food around. The first one is Tequila Street. They're a local food truck located at 9571 Silverdale Way in Silverdale, Washington. They got some best tasting breakfast burritos you'll ever find, including the Breakfast Tex Burrito, the Breakfast California Burrito, the Breakfast Ultimate Burrito, and my favorite, the Barbecue Pork Burrito. Delicious. They also add items like tacos, burritos, and other great tasting items. Call and place your order today. Go out and pick it up at 360-914-9152. That's at Tequila Street. Also, at the Kitsap Mall, Tequila. They have 5 kinds of tacos there. That's right, 5, including burritos, taquitos, taco salads, and my favorite, grilled jalapenos, yummy, and many, many more delicious items. Also, on Taco Tuesdays, tacos are 50% off. That's right, 50% off. Where can you find that deal, right? Call and place your order today at 360-698-4335 or head over to the website at tequizatacoshop.com and get some more great tasting, authentic Mexican food at Tequila, located at the Kitsap Mall. Their number again is 360-698-4335. I'd like to welcome one of the newest sponsors to the podcast, Mr. Alex Pablo. He specializes in assisting small to medium-sized local family restaurants establishments in enhancing their brand, identify, and cultivate a strong business image. He provides a comprehensive support through the creation and maintenance of professional business website, menu design, printing services, as well as implementing an effective online ordering system. His objective is to empower these businesses to flourish and achieve sustained success and increased online sales in their respective markets. Check out aldentedigitals.com for more information. Thank you so much for joining the Chit Chat Encouraging One Another podcast. The websites I had on for my musicians are linktree.com/SassyVezay, SASSYVEZAY. Also, Andrew Dean's website is andrewdean.us. And Daryl Dominic, his website is holyculture.net. You do /directory /artist and type in Daryl Dominic. Really enjoyed having them on and sharing their music. And most importantly, thank you for Brandy and the time we had at CENCOM, as she shared about being a 911 operator for over 20 years and some stories and who's inspired her and who, much respect for the many emergency personnel, individuals, and firemen, policemen, 911 operators. That's one job that's 24/7, 7 days a week, and answering phone calls from life-threatening emergencies to just an accident and a fender bender. So thank you for her time and just sharing behind the scenes of what goes on when you call 911. I challenge you to subscribe and follow this podcast, as every Wednesday, brand new episodes, encouragement, fun conversations with people from all over the world, and amazing music. And special thanks to our local sponsors who are advertised during these podcasts. And I really
enjoy sharing about them and their businesses. And thank you for joining the podcast today. Our website is chitchatpodcast.com. It's CHITNCHAT podcast.com. My name is Jody. I'm the host of Chit Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. Well, you guessed it, every week, every episode, it's always about encouraging others. Thank you. Till next time, have a great day. Encourage someone. This is Chit and Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. It's always about encouraging others.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.